because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want kids building complex brains. And we as the teachers, the instructional coaches, the leaders want to be able to facilitate that process. Whose mind do I want to be on fire? I want my students' minds on fire. But if I'm going to be engaged, and most of you, when you signed up for this profession, you understand it's a marathon, not a sprint. I want your minds to be on fire too. I want you to teach like your hair is on fire. Because you can't wait to get to school every day because it's so much fun to see kids making sense of learning. And one thing we hear from teachers across the country where we're doing this work, and we are doing this work in Colorado, we're doing this work in Maine, we're doing this work in Birmingham, Alabama, we're doing this work out in Lindsay, California. We're doing this work in some districts up in Michigan, South Carolina, North Carolina. It's branching out all over the country, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the historical perspectives as we go. But at the end of the day, we want minds on fire, both teachers and students. One of the things we constantly hear from teachers and all of us that have been, that are in this space now to kind of facilitate the adult learning, could definitely tell you with our kids, how to engage and motivate my students. How to engage and motivate my students. So learning is not something that's being done to them, right? Not something that's being done to them. That's what I want. I want kids engaged. And what does that look like at high levels so we can build the minds? So that's kind of where, this kind of grounds our thinking and some of our core values and beliefs. In order to do this work, we have to have some assurances. And we are speaking from the us column is really Brenda and Lori and Robin, Ashley, Heather, Kathy, Lynette, some of the folks that were kind of leading and designing these experiences for you right now. So we kind of have an us side, what you can assuredly get from us, and what we would like assurances from you. So if you kind of look at the us sign, we're going to collaborate, and not just these 3 days. We are intentionally building and thinking about what it could look like if we can continue to collaborate throughout the year. So our NAVN folks have some experience coming to the early college, and our kids begin to intermix. And those high schools, and I know some, you might go, Robin, that's not me, we're already doing that. Good, can't wait to hear and see what that looks like. And then how to design it for that personalized learning perspective, right? Voice and choice. In the PD in the next 3 days, one of the things we are going to model, and we were just really intentional when we designed it, is that you, as the learner, have voice and choice to access, engage, and express your learning. So if you're sitting here thinking, what does personalized learning look like? All you'll have to do is conjure up this 3-day experience. So that stuff is on purpose, And we'll unpack that. You're going to have some design time. This isn't 3 days of the talking heads, wah, 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 wah. I could do it for 3 days, but really I can't stand here myself after a while, right? Check and adjust. A strategy in a classroom where students are at the center. We're always checking and adjusting. So if we think we had a plan and we get to our kids just like you and you go, yeah, that ain't working. What do? Do you stay the course and do it anyway because, my God, the lesson that you designed said this is what you were going to do? And if you are that teacher, we will have office hours for intervention when this is over because you can't do that, and we don't do that. But we've been in some schools where they do that. We've been in some schools where there's a schedule in place, a master schedule, and it is so hideous and horrendous that nobody can get their heads around it, and yet we stay the course, and we go first semester and second semester with a schedule that doesn't work for anybody. I worked once upon a time, as did Brenda, up in Detroit Public Schools. We had 5 high schools in Detroit, and we went in, and one of the first things the principal said was, at lunchtime, it is like 7 circle of hell. There's all kinds of stuff that happens at lunch. We looked at the schedule, and the first thing we saw was their lunch periods in their high schools were 60 minutes long. I don't have to be a rocket scientist to, what do you suppose I asked them? Why? Because high school kids can eat in 12 minutes. That's right. And when they have nothing to do, some of them decided to be really creative and behaving badly. Well, because that's the schedule. Well, does it have to be your schedule? No one had given the mindset of, if it's not working, stop right now. Check and adjust, check and adjust. So that's an assurance from us. Another piece that is really important to us is this idea of cohesion and coherence. We did not believe it made any kind of sense to have an isolated, personalized learning time to get together and work together for our 9-12 early college and have Naven on their own island, and then everybody else, yeah, whatever, you just hear about it through the grapevine. It doesn't make any sense if we're trying to build that pipeline, cohesive and coherent. So those are our assurances. Your assurances, Lori, from the group, what are we looking for?
So I get to tell them what they get to do.
Yeah, you do.
tell them what we're going to do, I get to tell you all what to do. Okay, so we are hoping that you will have ongoing collaboration and that with us, with each other, to be able to keep that pipeline going and not to revert back to your school and your silo. Trust the process and suspend disbelief. Not thinking about all the reasons why this can't work, or we can't do it, or it's too much, or it's too hard, or this might be good for kids, but we can't do it. Trusting in the process and going along and seeing what will happen, and yeah, if it's good for kids, how can we make it happen? Engagement. So as teachers sometimes, and I will raise my hand and be guilty as well, sometimes we are just even more guilty than the kids, to be on our phone, making appointments for later, where do I need to have my kids, what am I doing, and you're not fully engaged in the moment. Outside of the box thinking, so not thinking about this is the way we've always done it, and so this is the way we need to continue to do it, to be open to thinking differently. Comfort with the design process. So there will be varying levels of comfort in the room, as well as varying levels of expertise and experience with the design process and design thinking. So again, being comfortable to be a little uncomfortable.